hello, America, it's us, the rest of the world. I know that you're not overly interested in general in what happens outside of your lovely, lovely country, but I feel like we need to have a sit down and have a talk about this man, because we're a little worried. Okay. But quite seriously, we're all slightly concerned about the whole Trump phenomenon. I hope you don't mind us expressing our concerns. This isn't actually the first time that people from my little island, the UK, have expressed their thoughts on the Trump phenomenon. A few months back, the UK Parliament decided to have a little bit of a debate about whether or not we were going to ban Donald Trump from coming into the UK, and we decided not to. In the end, we were very generous with our conclusion, but we ended up saying and describing him as stuff like this.
He is a wazzock.
Fool.
Bonkers.
Daft and offensive.
Donald Trump is a buffoon, stupidity.
Can I tell you a little secret? None of those words actually mean anything. It's just when a British person thinks that an American is going to be listening to them, we use deliberately ridiculous vocabulary so that it makes you think that we all talk like we're in Downton Abbey and makes you more likely to buy One Direction and Little Mix CDs. True story. Donald is really starting to worry a few people, though, with his quite extreme language on immigration, his ridiculous policies to want to build a wall across the Mexican-US border and get the Chinese or the Mexicans to pay for it. Nobody's really sure what the plan is there. He's also got into some quite public fights with the Fox News anchor Megyn Kelly, who is so beautiful that if you look at her with the naked eye, it's like staring directly into the sun. You will go blind. But he said that she was really annoyed because she had blood coming out of her, whatever. It wasn't classy. He's also retweeted loads of stuff calling her a bimbo. Progress, women's rights, yay. And there's also the policy of him wanting to ban all Muslim people from going into the United States of America, which isn't going to cause friction between the US and the Middle East at all. It just isn't. People outside of the US aren't the only ones concerned by this. The Republican Party, who Donald Trump is supposedly representing, has also started to panic. Do you remember Mitt Romney, as well as being the subject of this hilarious gif where he has a little face on a big head? Oh, it's so funny. He was the Republican candidate for the presidency in 2012, eventually losing to Obama. A few months ago, he very publicly laid into Donald Trump, lending a voice to the Republican Party that are starting to get their knickers in a twist about the whole thing, saying that he probably isn't as rich and successful business-wise as you probably thought, and also that his policies were divisive and demeaning to a lot of people, and not the way that the Republican Party want to go. And I was like, oh, Mitt, oh, I loved you in your Netflix documentary. You were really humanised, and please get me to marry one of your hot Mormon sons. What? Mormons are hot? That's a thing, right? Donald Trump has many things, money being the main one, right? But something that he apparently lacks is a thick skin. And soon after Romney did that, takedown of Trump and all of his terrible business practices, Donald Trump decided to use a press conference to promote all of his products that have his name on it, which included wine, steak, champagne, water, and, it's a bit dodgy to have a presidential candidate touting their, business things. You probably shouldn't be doing that. But also, it just made me think, who is buying, what kind of, weird person is buying Trump champagne? Why would you want, Trump hasn't been rejected by absolutely everybody in the Republican Party, though. Soon after dropping out of the race, the Republican governor of New Jersey, Christie, came out and supported him, despite the fact that they were, hating on each other quite a lot in debates. I mean, Trump has been hating on absolutely everybody. But, Chris, mind if I call you Chris? We know that your final term is up as New Jersey governor. We know that you don't really have a chance to, continue your political career, and we know you're trying to get the VP or, Attorney General or something with President Trump. Where are your values? Christie did very much throw all of his ideals under the bus in order to further his political career under a hypothetical President Trump. And I don't know whether to feel terrible for him. I don't know whether to feel elated that this wasn't kind of rewarded in the way that he thought it would be rewarded. But there's this vine of Trump kind of bullying Chris.
Get in the plane and go home. It's over there. You go home.
I don't agree with Chris Christie on a lot of things. I have very little sympathy for him. But after that, I just wanted to give him a hug. There's the plane, it's over there. Bugger off. Oh, Chris. What kind of has been worrying about Trump as well is the amount of, shall we say, excitement that his supporters channel in less than friendly ways. I think that's the most diplomatic way I can put it. There's been a phenomenon of people protesting at Donald Trump rallies and then being kind of like beaten and thrown out, and it's quite terrifying. So here's kind of like a rundown of some of the people who were thrown out. There's this guy who looked particularly fabulous and kept on like flicking his hair. I love him. I want him to be my friend. There was this lady, if you remember her from a few months ago, who started reading like a book about like black poetry in the background of a Donald Trump rally. That was amazing. And probably the sweetest one, the lady, the Muslim lady in the hijab who wore a shirt that said, I come in peace, and then was escorted out. And I'm just like, well, this is a lovely atmosphere that Trump is cultivating, isn't it? There's been a lot of speculation about the people who are voting Trump, not least because the media were like, oh no, nobody will actually vote for him. He's just popular in the polls because you don't actually have to go to a polling booth and vote. But he's winning like everything. So, eggs on your face, media. And this is where I want to get real for a little bit, because there seems to be a certain kind of patronising tone when people talk about Donald Trump supporters, in saying that they are stupid. The Donald Trump phenomenon of like populist anti-immigration rhetoric may be something like reasonably new in US politics, but we've seen it, especially in my continent of Europe, quite a lot. In Britain, we have a party called the UK Independence Party, who are quite anti-immigration, anti-Europe, and very populist and loud and shouty sometimes, and sometimes quite scary. Please don't hurt me. UKIP supporters in the UK have quite often been described by mainstream politicians and media as stupid, not really understanding how the world works, and you know what the result of that has been. The result of that has been that UKIP are the largest party that we sent to the European Parliament. They got over, I think, 5 million votes in the last election, and they're a force to be reckoned with. And now we're having a referendum on whether we're going to be in the EU because of the populism of UKIP. The worst thing you can do is call those people stupid and call those people uninformed. They've perhaps not read The Guardian, or I don't know what the US equivalent is. They probably haven't watched MSNBC, but they aren't stupid. What I'm going to say is probably quite contentious, but I think a lot of mainstream politics and even fringe politics has left the white working class behind. I mean, like, oh, any opinions that you have just aren't valid because, you know, you have this privilege and you have these opportunities, and traditionally you have had it pretty good, especially in America, right? Because, you know, segregation was a thing, and white people are used to being not bottom of the heap, which is a horrible way to think about it, but that's probably exactly what is going through their minds. There was a fantastic article from Emma Lindsay on Medium that I shared on my Facebook page last week, and I think she really accurately explains why the white working class vote is so disenfranchised and why Donald Trump is doing so incredibly well. Let me read you a quote. "We must find ways for the working class to maintain its dignity. We must find a way for them to have jobs that are satisfying to them. We must find a way for them to contribute to culture. We must find a way for them to feel heard," which, by the way, are the exact same goals we need to have for oppressed races. We all need the same thing, and until we find a way to give it to more people, we will fight each other for it. So these people that are voting for Trump, society isn't giving them anything yet. And I think that when we look at Donald Trump voters and we're like, oh my god, how could anybody do that? It helps nobody, because it dehumanizes these people that have very real feelings of, I'm finding it really hard to support my family. Where is my American dream? Why are there no more manufacturing jobs? And unless you try to understand and tackle the issues that are important to them, not by pandering to, like, immigration rhetoric and fear and all of the things that Donald Trump is managing to pick up votes through, the longer you ignore them, the more that somebody like Donald Trump is going to do well. So basically, USA, as a representative of the international community, I'm telling you to sort your shit out and start engaging these people and helping these people. You're probably going to disagree with me on this. What do you think of this whole phenomenon? Do you think that I'm perhaps being too kind to the Donald Trump supporters? If I am being too kind, then how can you win these people over? Because these people, in a democracy, have a vote, whether you like it or not. How do we win them over into not believing that the other is the thing that they need to fear? I think that's the essential thing, right? Oh my god, I'm so wise. I'm going to run a straw poll in this video. Can you let me know in the little exclamation point that you can see there? Do you think that Donald Trump is going to be the nomination for the Republican Party? Because it looks like he probably is, and that's going to be quite interesting, seeing him and probably Hillary. I know that a lot of you are probably feeling the burn, but probably see him run off against Hillary. Because emails. We can't talk about the emails, it's bad. Of course, feel free to be contentious with me in the comments below. This is a forum for discussion. You are allowed to disagree with my analyses. If you enjoy talking about politics, then check out my podcast, which I will plug every time until you listen to it, you bastards. And until then, I'll see you later. I have been rhyming with oranges. Toodaloo now. Bye-bye. Oh, God, sorry. Whoops, sorry. Okay, guess good. Toodaloo.